Alright, so on Tuesday, Ronda Rousey held a Reddit Ask Me Anything in order to promote her Kickstarter campaign to get her graphic novel published, and I'm sure to the surprise of no one besides Ronda herself, it turned out to be an unmitigated disaster. And according to people who frequent the AMA subreddit, it's already seen as one of, if not the worst AMAs in history. Because not only did Ronda massively misjudge how hospitably she would be welcomed by Redditors, but she also cherry-picked her responses like crazy and only chose to answer 39 out of 510 total questions. Okay, so let's get into the AMA itself. I think the best place to start here is that you'll immediately notice that a vast majority of these questions are related to Ronda's denial of the Sandy Hook incident that took place in 2012, or if you're Ronda, did it actually though? And I'm not gonna lie, I was a full-on hardcore fan of the sport at the time Ronda made these comments, but I actually have no memory of Ronda being a Sandy Hook truther, so this was a bit of an additional surprise on top of the fact that Ronda was crazy enough to do this AMA to begin with. And when I say that most of the questions are about her Sandy Hook comments, I mean straight up at least 80% of all of the comments in this thread have some sort of reference to Ronda Rousey claiming that Sandy Hook was staged or was somehow a hoax. Some people directly ask her what she thinks about the situation now, whereas some people pose their questions as a joke, but my god, as someone who spent the last decade being unaware that Ronda ever said these things, this was quite the compelling read. And despite these Sandy Hook related questions being by far and away the most asked about topic, Ronda, as you can probably imagine, did not respond to a single one. Aside from the massive amount of Sandy Hook related stuff, there's definitely a pretty decent amount of people asking a very valid question in that why is Ronda Rousey even asking fans for money to begin with? Like, why does Ronda, this former UFC champion, former WWE wrestler, and former movie star have a Kickstarter campaign where she's begging people to fund her own graphic novel being published? Not only that, it's no secret that Ronda has a pretty sour relationship with both UFC fans and WWE fans, where she's publicly made negative comments about both fan bases. She's called UFC fans bandwagon jumpers, and she's famously called WWE fans ungrateful idiots, and the fact that she has the audacity to come crawling back to these disgusting bandwagon jumpers and ungrateful idiots and is asking them to pay for her newest vanity project is fucking ridiculous to me. On that note, I really love this guy's question. It's probably my favorite out of the entire AMA, and it really highlights how entitled Ronda has always been and still remains to be today. Hi Ronda, I hope you're having a great day. My question is, do you still feel that wrestling fans are ungrateful idiots, as you tweeted after the release of Bray Wyatt, and if so, why should we idiots help fund your latest passion project? But of course, Ronda doesn't give an answer to this. She just ignores it, much like she does with over 90% of the other questions that she was asked that hurt her feelings. So I think that this topic of why is Ronda asking her fans for money becomes a little bit more interesting, seeing as there have been rumors floating around lately that Ronda and Travis might be going through some money issues, which is why Ronda is trying to become a graphic novelist all of a sudden. Apart from apparently having to crowdfund her book getting published, Ronda and Travis have both recently posted to their Instagrams offering private MMA lessons to fans that want to learn their signature moves, and they say that the money for the private lessons will go to the Kickstarter campaign. But it's like, here's what I don't get. The campaign goal for their Kickstarter is $20,000. Do they not have $20,000? Like, don't get me wrong, to me 20 G's is a massive amount of money, but seeing as Ronda's disclosed earnings from her UFC career alone is $13 million, and her WWE career earnings is estimated to be at about $2 million, then $20,000 doesn't seem like it should be an amount of money that they should have to crowdfund. Also, I'm sure Ronda and Travis aren't super eager to be giving out private MMA lessons to complete strangers, so it begs the question on if they're doing all of this because they want to, or are they doing this because they don't have the means to pay for the book themselves. Not only that, I'm pretty sure Ronda's memoir that she released earlier this year called Our Fight wasn't nearly as much of a success as she hoped it would be. Now, I couldn't find any concrete sales numbers on how the memoir performed, but I'm pretty sure that it flopped hard because the amount of Amazon book reviews that it has is shockingly low. And you might be saying, what does number of reviews have anything to do with sales? But trust me, it's definitely a thing that quantity of reviews is a direct indicator to book sale success. On that note, let's now compare some numbers really quickly. Let's take a look at the book The Girl on the Train, which was one of the highest selling books of 2015, and it currently has 493,000 reviews on Amazon. Now let's take a look at Ronda's first book that was also released in 2015 called My Fight, Your Fight, which has a little over 4,000 reviews on Amazon. Okay, definitely less than The Girl on the Train, but honestly still seems like a pretty respectable number to me. Now let's turn our attention to Our Fight, released in 2024, which currently has 103 reviews on Amazon. And you might be saying that the book was only released this year, people haven't had time to review it yet, but I don't think that this is the case, seeing as Ronda's WWE rival Becky Lynch also released a memoir in 2024, and she has 10 times the amount of reviews on her book. In fact, Becky's book was released 1 month after Ronda's was, and it seems like her book is doing way better than Ronda's is, and I'm sure that this is a massive blow to Ronda's ego. Anyways, just to tie all of this back to Ronda's AMA, I think the people that are asking why Ronda is asking for her fans' money to fund her book are very valid, but honestly, there might be a realistic possibility that Ronda and Travis might be strapped for cash. And even though the idea of them being broke in 2024 does seem implausible to me given how much money Ronda specifically made throughout her career, but when you take into consideration they're even doing a Kickstarter campaign in the first place, and that they've resorted to offering private MMA lessons to complete strangers to help pay for the Kickstarter, and it really seems to me at least that her recent memoir tanked in sales, the rumors that Ronda might have fallen on hard times might have some credibility, who knows. Alright, the last thing that I want to bring up in this video is asking you guys a very commonly asked question that Ronda was asked in the AMA, which is why the fuck did Ronda think that this would be a good idea? Like, I don't know if Ronda has a PR team that helps her behind the scenes, but if she does, then she needs to fire them and look for new help ASAP. But honestly, I can genuinely see Ronda being such a self-indulgent narcissist who still sees herself as some sort of master of media promotion, and she convinced herself that Reddit would be stoked to hang out with her or something. Regardless, whether or not Ronda's PR team set this up on her behalf, or if Ronda took it upon herself to do this, mistakes were made. And through a mixture of Ronda's previous antics and her general personality, Reddit was more than eager to ask her questions that clearly rubbed her ego the wrong way, seeing as out of 510 questions, Ronda only answered 39 of them. And the questions that she did answer are straight up softball questions like, what's your favorite pizza? I don't know, for reasons I cannot understand, Ronda really did not seem to think that it was a possibility that these Redditors would call her out on her Sandy Hook statements, or why she's asking her ungrateful idiot fans to pay for her book to be published, or point out how she got beaten fair and square by Holly and Amanda and she acted like a sore loser about it. I don't know, man. I really just recommend that you guys check out Ronda's AMA yourselves, because it's impossible for me to properly explain how much of a flaming dumpster fire it really was, and you should really just see it with your own eyes. I'll leave a link in the description of this video that will take you directly to it, and yeah, it's a crazy read. And I will finish off this video by saying this: even though Ronda is an undeniable legend in the sport of MMA, she just doesn't seem like a very happy person to me at all. She seems really angry all the time, she seems insecure, and she seems to get offended by some really small things. Like, what is the point of doing an Ask Me Anything if you're literally going to ignore over 90% of the questions and then rage quit like an hour into it? I don't know, man. Of course, I hope Ronda doesn't fall on hard times or whatever, and I wish her family the best, I guess, but she'd really benefit from some self-reflection. But hey, her lack of self-awareness is exactly what gave us this train wreck of an AMA, so I guess it's not all that bad. Anyways, that's the video for today. Definitely let me know what you think about all things Ronda. What do you make of her Reddit AMA, as well as her new aspirations for being a graphic novelist? As always, if you liked the video, then like the video, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. I appreciate you guys for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.